Imagine this, you're dating a stunning woman. She's intelligent, charming, and every guy stares when she walks in. You're treating her like royalty. Flowers, expensive dates, endless compliments, good morning texts every day. You're doing everything right. But then, she starts pulling away. You feel her slipping, and you don't know why. What I'm about to reveal will shatter everything you thought you knew about attraction, and it explains why so many perfect boyfriends lose the women they adore. Here's the uncomfortable truth. For a woman to stay deeply attracted, she can't feel completely secure in your affection. If she feels she's already won you, her subconscious mind slowly turns off the desire switch. It's not logical, it's biological. Women are wired to feel drawn to men who challenge them emotionally. The moment you make her the center of your universe, you unknowingly kill the very mystery that keeps her obsessed. Attraction dies when there's no chase. Before you think this is about being manipulative, let's be clear. This isn't about being cruel or toxic. It's about understanding the psychological triggers behind female attraction. For millions of years, women had to choose partners based on survival instincts. Their subconscious evolved to desire men with perceived higher value, the ones who seemed harder to win. When you treat her like a queen before she's earned it, her brain registers it as weakness, not love. This brings us to the first golden rule. Women are biologically programmed to seek men with higher survival value than themselves. This isn't a conscious choice. It's ancient programming hardwired into her DNA. For thousands of years, women survived by selecting men who could protect, provide, and lead. That primal code still drives attraction today. Even in a modern world with supermarkets and safety nets, her instincts are scanning for strength, confidence, and emotional self-control. Here's where most men fail. When you behave needy, desperate, or overly accommodating, you send signals of low survival value. You're subconsciously communicating, "I need you more than you need me." Her brain interprets this as weakness, and her attraction fades. She doesn't want to feel like your entire happiness depends on her validation. What she craves instead is a man who's confidently independent, one who chooses her, but doesn't need her to feel complete. This is why so many nice guys lose women. They believe attraction is built by constant gifts, endless compliments, and over-the-top effort. But women don't fall for men who make them the center of their universe. They fall for men who make them work for emotional investment. Desire thrives in uncertainty. The moment she knows she has you completely, her subconscious tells her, the chase is over. And when the chase ends, so does her excitement. This leads us to sexual market value, SMV. Think of dating like an invisible marketplace where everyone has value based on their looks, personality, status, and energy. But here's the twist. Women don't fall for the man with the highest actual value. They fall for the man with the highest perceived value. A broke artist who carries himself like a prize can attract women more easily than a millionaire who acts desperate and insecure. I knew two men who proved this perfectly. One was a wealthy lawyer, luxury car, designer suits, and status. He spoiled women, texted constantly, and rearranged his life for their attention. Yet they always left him. The other was a bartender living in a tiny apartment. But he had a powerful mindset, playful, confident, and mysterious. Women chased him endlessly. Why? Because attraction isn't about money or looks. It's about how you make her feel about you. The second guy understood a core principle. Perceived value beats actual value. He acted like a man with options, calm, self-assured, and detached from the outcome. Women were drawn to him because he wasn't chasing validation. Meanwhile, the wealthy lawyer's behavior screamed desperation, lowering his perceived value. Women aren't consciously calculating your net worth. They're scanning your behavioral cues. If you behave like a man who can't live without her, she'll believe you're not worth keeping. Here's the second golden rule. The less certain a woman is about your interest, the more mental energy she invests in you. This isn't manipulation, it's human psychology. We value things we're uncertain about and take for granted what feels guaranteed. If you constantly text her, compliment her, and show endless availability, she doesn't have to earn your attention, and she'll naturally stop craving it. Scarcity creates value. Predictability kills desire. Imagine meeting a woman at an event, exchanging numbers, and hitting it off instantly. Most guys text the next morning, "I had such a great time." "You're amazing. When can I see you again?" That's predictable. The high-value man does the opposite. He waits, lets her wonder, and later sends a short, confident message. "Coffee, Tuesday, 3 p.m., no emojis. No begging, no chasing." This creates mystery and positions you as someone who chooses rather than pleads. This works because of a powerful principle called intermittent reinforcement, the same psychology casinos use to keep people gambling. When rewards are predictable, we get bored fast. When rewards are unpredictable, we become hooked. Your attention works the same way. If she gets it freely and consistently, she adapts and stops valuing it. But when your attention is scarce and earned, it becomes addictive. Your unpredictability makes her chase you instead of the other way around. Think of your validation as a currency. If you hand it out too freely, it becomes worthless. Most men spend their entire emotional budget in the first week of dating. Endless compliments, overgiving, constant availability. But here's the secret. Validation only creates value when it's earned. Give it rarely and it becomes precious. A single genuine compliment from a high-value man carries more emotional weight than 50 desperate, "You're so beautiful" texts from a needy one. Women are extremely skilled at reading your level of investment without you saying a word. She notices how quickly you reply to texts, how much you rearrange your schedule for her, and how easily you cancel your plans just to see her. These microsignals scream neediness, and her subconscious labels you as lower value. She doesn't want to be your whole world. She wants to feel like she's earning her place in your world. That's real attraction. Here's a story to illustrate this. A friend of mine dated a model used to constant attention from men. Instead of complimenting her looks like everyone else, he only praised her when she genuinely earned it. Her wit, her humor, her ideas. Suddenly, his validation became valuable because it wasn't automatic. She started chasing his approval, working harder to impress him. Women crave to earn your respect. When you give it freely, you strip it of meaning. One of the biggest attraction killers? Predictability. When she knows exactly what you'll do, exactly how you'll respond, and exactly when you'll text, you become boring. The thrill disappears. Relationships that start with passion often turn cold when the man becomes routine. The good boyfriend who calls every night, plans the same dates, and always says yes unknowingly kills the spark. Mystery fuels desire, predictability suffocates it. If she stops wondering about you, she stops craving you. This explains the power of the bad boy stereotype. It's not that women are attracted to men who treat them poorly. They're drawn to men who are unpredictable and hard to fully figure out. These men don't follow the typical script. They lead with confidence, make bold decisions, and create an emotional roller coaster. Excitement mixed with uncertainty. That tension keeps her brain invested in you. If she can't predict you, she obsesses over you. Here's a truth most men never learn. Women test you constantly, but not to be cruel. They test to measure your emotional strength. She wants to know, can he handle me? Can he lead? Can he stand firm under pressure? These aren't conscious choices. They're subconscious survival instincts. Every time she teases you, goes cold, or pushes boundaries, she's checking whether you crumble or hold your frame. How you respond determines whether attraction grows or dies. Let's break down 3 common tests. 1. The comparison test. She mentions another guy to see if you get jealous. Fail by acting insecure. Pass by staying calm, maybe even agreeing lightly. 2. The availability test. She cancels plans last minute. Fail by begging to reschedule. Pass by casually saying no problem and making other plans. 3. The attitude test. She gives you attitude. Fail by over-explaining or apologizing. Pass by matching her energy until she resets her behavior. Passing these tests signals strength and self-control, which raises your value in her subconscious mind. Failing them signals insecurity, which instantly lowers attraction. This isn't about playing games, it's about demonstrating confidence. When you stay composed under pressure, she instinctively feels safer and more drawn to you. Women are wired to be attracted to men who remain unshaken by emotional storms. Stability equals strength, and strength equals desire. If you fail these tests, her interest fades fast. Here's the brutal biological truth. When a woman perceives your value as lower than hers, her attraction drops, even if she doesn't want it to. Her subconscious literally starts rejecting you. You'll notice it through decreased affection, shorter replies, less intimacy, and growing irritability. It's not always personal. It's evolutionary programming. Her instincts scream, "This man isn't a strong enough choice for my survival and offspring." Without realizing it, she emotionally detaches. But here's the good news. You can reactivate attraction once you understand these psychological triggers. Attraction isn't about begging for her love, buying her attention, or convincing her to stay. It's about positioning yourself as a man of high perceived value again. That starts by reclaiming your independence, rebuilding your confidence, and creating emotional unpredictability. When she feels she has to earn your attention again, her brain reignites the desire switch. It's psychology, not magic. Another fascinating phenomenon. When a woman fears losing you, her communication changes completely. Most women communicate covertly, hinting at their needs instead of stating them directly. But when her attraction spikes and uncertainty rises, she switches to overt communication. Suddenly she's affectionate, texting first, calling more, and openly expressing how much she misses you. Why? Because her subconscious fears competition. If she senses your high value, she fights to secure you. This is why typical dating advice often fails. You're told to hit the gym, make more money, dress better. Sure, these things help, but they're surface level. A man can be wealthy, fit, and stylish, yet still lose a woman if he behaves low value. Conversely, an average guy with strong frame control, emotional independence, and confidence can keep a gorgeous woman hooked for years. External upgrades get you noticed. Psychological positioning keeps her obsessed. This leads us to the most counterintuitive truth. Women often stay with men who treat them worse while leaving men who treat them better. It's not because they enjoy suffering. It's because bad behavior can signal higher value. A man who risks losing her by setting boundaries communicates, "I have options." A man who prioritizes his goals over her texts communicates, "I'm not desperate." That emotional scarcity triggers biological attraction, not logic, instincts. Nice guys make one fatal mistake. They act like they've already won the woman, and they start behaving like fans instead of partners. They give endless validation, rearrange their lives, and put her on a pedestal. Ironically, this pushes her away. Women don't want to feel like your trophy. They want to feel like they've earned your approval. When you make her work for your attention, she values it. When you give it freely, she devalues it. Here's a paradox. Women want men who treat them well, but they lose interest in men who treat them too well too soon. Overinvestment signals desperation. If you plan extravagant dates, bombard her with calls, and constantly shower her with gifts, her subconscious thinks, "Why is he trying so hard?" Other women must not want him. That assumption lowers your perceived value instantly. Attraction isn't built by overgiving, it's built by creating emotional scarcity. Women don't fall in love with you. They fall in love with how you make them feel about themselves when they're around you. If you make her feel like she's the prize, like she has complete power over you, she'll enjoy the attention, but her desire will fade. If you make her feel like she's earning your affection, like she's lucky to have your time, her emotional brain lights up. That challenge creates deep, lasting obsession. The key is finding the balance between challenge and hope. Be mysterious enough to keep her chasing, but open enough that she believes she can win. Too much distance and she'll assume you're uninterested. Too much availability and she'll lose attraction. High-value men master this balance naturally. They live fulfilling lives, pursue their passions, and invite women into their world without making them the center of it. That emotional independence makes them magnetic. Here's the secret weapon: abundance mindset. Women are drawn to men who don't need them to feel complete. It's not about having multiple women. It's about projecting energy that says, "I have options, but I choose you." This mental state makes you act differently. You don't chase, you don't overgive, you don't beg. You lead instead of follow. Scarcity repels, abundance attracts. When you radiate self-sufficiency, she senses it, and she can't help but desire it. Scarcity isn't just about dating other women, it's about prioritizing yourself. High-value men focus on their goals, passions, and purpose first. They make women part of their life, not the center of it. When your world doesn't revolve around her, she feels she's competing for your attention. And competition drives desire. A man who's on his path, building his empire, naturally radiates confidence and strength. That energy attracts women more than words or gifts ever could. Leadership is another powerful trigger of attraction. Women are biologically drawn to men who lead decisively and make choices with confidence. This doesn't mean being controlling or arrogant. It means being clear about what you want and guiding the relationship forward. Instead of asking, "What do you want to do?" say, "We're trying that new sushi place." This communicates certainty. When you make decisions with confidence, she relaxes into your leadership, and attraction deepens. But leadership without frame control fails. Your frame is your perspective, how you see yourself, her, and the relationship. Women constantly test your frame, often without realizing it, to see if you'll abandon your values to please them. The man who bends every time she pushes loses respect. The man who calmly maintains his standards earns admiration and desire. Strength isn't loud, it's quiet, unshakable confidence. The moment she feels you lead your reality, she follows. Here's a truth most men never hear. Whoever invests more desires less. In every relationship, the person putting in more emotional energy holds less power. If you're always initiating, always compromising, always giving more than you receive, she subconsciously devalues you. Balance is key. Let her invest first, with texts, effort, and emotions, then match her energy. When investment is equal, attraction thrives. When it's lopsided, the one who gives more always loses desire. Men often confuse love with attraction. Love is built on care, compatibility, and commitment. Attraction is driven by tension, mystery, and uncertainty. You can love her endlessly, but if there's no spark of challenge, she won't desire you. That's why so many long-term relationships fade. Men stop creating emotional tension. The secret isn't to love less. It's to maintain the dynamic that sparked her interest in the first place. Love sustains relationships, attraction keeps them alive. This is why nice guys finish last. Not because kindness is unattractive, but because overgiving without boundaries communicates low value. High-value men are kind, but they're also selective. They give to women who earn it, not by default. A compliment from them feels special because it's rare and sincere. A compliment from a needy man feels empty because it's constant and unearned. When your kindness comes with self-respect, it strengthens attraction instead of destroying it. Another crucial shift. Stop trying to convince her to like you. Men who beg, explain, or prove their worth repel women instantly. You don't attract by persuading, you attract by being. Build yourself into a man with standards, passion, and purpose. Invite her into your world without forcing her to stay. The less you try to prove your value, the more she perceives it. Confidence isn't spoken, it's felt. The man who chases approval never earns it. To maintain long-term attraction, you must create an environment where she feels lucky to have won you, not the other way around. This isn't arrogance, it's balance. You offer love, attention, and care, but you also demand respect, effort, and emotional reciprocity. You choose her, but you don't need her. That subtle difference changes everything. When she senses that your world remains intact with or without her, her instinctual drive to keep you intensifies. Here's the ultimate takeaway. Attraction isn't logical, it's biological. You can't negotiate desire. You can't argue her into loving you. You must embody the traits that trigger her subconscious instincts: strength, independence, leadership, unpredictability, and emotional control. When you become this man, you stop chasing women entirely. They start chasing you. Mastering female psychology isn't manipulation, it's alignment. You're working with her nature, not against it. That's when relationships transform forever. You now know the hidden psychology behind why women lose interest in perfect men, and why they crave men who challenge them. Stop overgiving, stop seeking constant approval. Build yourself into a man she feels lucky to have. Remember, love without attraction dies, but attraction without love thrives. Be confident, unpredictable, and purpose-driven. Lead your life and invite her along for the journey. When you master this, women won't just like you, they'll obsess over you.